Hello everybody and welcome to Wrestling on the Fly live from the Gimpy Show 2025. I am, of course, your host, the Devil's Double, Jesse Daniels, and today I've got quite an exciting young prospect of Australian wrestling, hailing all the way from Rockhampton. I've seen his work all throughout Queensland, and he's really one of the young fellas trying to make an excellent name for himself in the state and in Australia in general. So, without any further hesitation, I would like to welcome to the stage right now the young prospect, the future of Australian wrestling, Marston Holmes.
Ahoy. Good to see you.
Good to see
Hello,
you,
hello.
Marston.
Ooh, let me jump up here.
So, I'll move over a bit so you can come across this way and be more in frame, because I'm known to share the stage and the spotlight, of course. My reputation precedes me. So I believe that this is your very first podcast that you've done, correct?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so ticking it off the bucket list, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely, yes. I've always wanted to do one, so I'm glad I get to do one now.
Excellent. So we're going to get started. We're going to jump right in.
Yep.
I've heard a little bit about you, and I love the backstory that you've got. I want to know what got you interested in professional wrestling, what got you started in the business.
Yeah, okay, so I'm a big nerd.
There we go.
I'm a big nerd. I love me a good bit of Marvel. And one day, I was home from school, and I just went on my school laptop, and I was watching YouTube, and I found on YouTube this 30-man Marvel Rumble. Someone made 30 Marvel characters on one of the WWE games. I think it was 2K18. And I was like, what the heck is this? So I watched it. I was thoroughly entertained, and I'm like, I need to see more. So I watched more. I watched the 2017 Royal Rumble, and as soon as I watched the first live match I watched, which was 2017 Rumble, I was immediately hooked. I was immediately like, I want to do this. Where do I do this? And I started looking. Couldn't find a place at first, but eventually, a friend of mine drove past Newcastle Pro Wrestling, and I found out their tryout dates, and I began training in February of 2020. Yeah, that's how I got into it.
Excellent. So, a random way to discover pro wrestling. They're definitely unique to yourself. Most people say they were flicking channels and they saw something on the internet, and you were searching for Marvel characters fighting.
Well, it just popped up on my recommended,
and that just got you to go ahead and be like, what is this thing? Let's dive into it. You started looking at the Royal Rumble. You're like, wow, these real life superheroes. I want to be a real life superhero.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything online, and then by happen chance, like, you may drove past, saw Newcastle Pro Wrestling. It's like, Marston, you gotta get on this, mate.
Yeah.
So you walk in. What were you expecting the training to be like? Did it measure up?
So is this for the tryout or for when I started
for
training?
The tryout, like you went for the tryout. But what were you expecting it to be like? What were you anticipating?
So I don't actually know what I was anticipating the tryout to look like. It was kind of what I expected, because it was mostly just physical activity. You know, we went for a run, we came back, and we did a circuit of different exercises. We went through a deck of cards, I'm pretty sure, and
brutal.
Yeah,
Brutal.
They get you in doing good stuff, and I shockingly was able to keep up with half of the other fit dudes. There was this one guy we had that was in my tryout who's this 6'4", ripped to the bone guy, and I was like keeping up with him, which kind of surprised me. I was like, wow, okay, this is like, it's hard, but like I could get used to this. And then so I passed the tryout, and then going into training again, still didn't know what I was expecting. I was just kind of like, I don't even know how wrestling worked at the time. I just knew they did cool stuff, and I wanted to do the cool stuff. But once they started explaining, we start with rolls, and then we go into bumps, and this and that and that. I started, getting the hang of it, putting it all together, and here I am today now. So yeah, that's what went through my head, really.
That's amazing. So you go to Newcastle, you do all the training, you get yourself ready to get on shows and stuff. And now, I believe you're based in Rockhampton.
Yes.
So, what happened for you not to be in Newcastle debuting and stuff? What led you to go into Rockhampton, into Wrestling Allegiance Rockhampton, and to make that your home federation?
So, to my knowledge, I believe Adam Hoffman, the head coach at Newcastle Pro Wrestling, he was telling my dad that he was getting me ready in regards to debuting. So I was like kind of close to debuting for Newey Pro. So this was about maybe, I moved away in March of 2022, but yeah, between February 2020 to before March 2022, towards the end of it, I was getting close to debuting to his word, and I was excited and everything. And then my parents, because at the time I was 17, and not ready to live away from the people I've lived my whole life with. My parents said they're moving to Rockhampton for multiple reasons, and I came with them. Me and my siblings, we all came with them. Me being worried there was nothing in Rockhampton, no wrestling, no nothing. Finding out that there was, at the time, QWAR, now rebranded as Wrestling Allegiance Rockhampton. So I started, training with them. I went to one of their shows, and I got to meet a few people, and started training with them. And we moved in March 2022, and I debuted in November of 2022 for them, and under a mask that didn't fit my face, and I was called El Nino.
El Nino.
Yes.
Tell us about El Nino.
So El Nino was just a generic luchador, and the mask.
Like, we all have an embarrassing backstory, so don't feel bad. We all started somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
I'm not gonna say what mine was, but you can Google it. But don't feel bad. Just go full on.
Yeah. So El Nino, the whole idea was that he was a Mexican luchador who moved to Australia, just so happened to have picked Rockhampton to just be wrestling, I guess. Just wrestle around, be champ or whatever. So. Yeah, I was El Nino for a while, and I had a mask that didn't fit me. My mask didn't have a nose hole, but because my nose protrudes so much, it ripped a nose hole in the mask in my first match. And yeah, I was El Nino for 10 matches until I had a mask versus mask street fight where I lost. Lost the mask before the match even ended. And yeah, after that same day, I debuted as Marston Holmes, and that's who you see now, Marston Holmes. That's me.
So, I'm interested in Marston Holmes. It's such a unique name. How did you come up with it? What is the backstory of Marston? Oh, this sounds like it's going to be very good. Sounds like it's going to be very, very good.
I think more it's going to be underwhelming. So, a name is something I've been stuck on for a while. So, my original idea for a character when I was in New South Wales was Space Cowboy, and it was like, it was going to be legendary. Let me tell you, I still miss him to this day. I had a whole promo and everything. But when I moved to Rocky, we had Trinidad, and we had they were like the multiverse traveling gimmick and everything. So that was kind of the space side, and then Colt Winchester's a cowboy. So I was kind of like, I can't really do Space Cowboy. But I was always stuck on a name though. Even when I was going to be Space Cowboy, never had a name. For a while, it was just going to be Space Cowboy, no name. But yeah, I moved up here, and I was given El Nino, but then I was told, you're going to lose the mask. So once I lose the mask, what's my name going to be? So I was like, I'm not too sure. So I decided to do what I guess anyone or no one would do, and I went to a random name generator, and I generated maybe like 25 names, and I just started putting them together. And in the end, I came with Marston Holmes. Asked a few people what they think, and they said they liked it. I don't really know anyone named Marston besides John Marsden. I think John Marsden from Red Dead. So I was like, yeah, I'll go Marston Holmes. That rolls off the tongue nicely. That's where it originated from. Nothing special.
So you say you went to a few people because it's important to like double check your ideas and stuff when you're getting into wrestling, because the last thing you want is to wrestle somewhere and be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Who are some of the people who you go to when you've got creative ideas that bounce them off back and forth?
I always like to keep in contact with my friends down at Newey Pro that I made. I'll message Adam Hoffman every now and then because he was the head coach there. He's a very intellectual in regards to wrestling, or just intellectual in general. Individual, so I like to get his ideas with his experience and everything. Even the middleweight champion at Newcastle Pro Wrestling right now, Leo Tempest. He's one of my good friends, and he's now become like a coach at Newcastle Pro. I like to go to him. And then even like up here, like besides some of the local guys, just to see what they think in Rocky, like Tyson DeHaunt or even Captain Joseph Blackheart. I go to like I've made close friends up in QWA, so I might even go to like a Trent O'Day, Seth Tyler's. I know they've got good experiences. Sam Cannon. Truthfully, it varies. If I think someone might have a bit more knowledge on one certain topic, I go to them. I've even just randomly messaged a wrestler I've never met before, but that I know is very good to get some feedback on stuff. So like, I just kind of depends who I feel like would give me good feedback. It can vary.
100%. I think it's crucial to get feedback of the same idea from more than one source as well.
I believe that. Yes.
It helps everything become so much more polished when you're able to work on it over time.
Absolutely.
Now you did just you've mentioned Newey Pro, you've mentioned WAR in Rockhampton, and you mentioned QWA, and you are one of the young Queensland guys who is going out and trying to make a name for themselves. I've seen you in Wide Bay Pro Wrestling. I believe you've reached out to companies like Professional Wrestling League, probably IPW. I believe you've wrestled for UPW.
Yes.
Atomic.
I've reached out. Yes.
You've reached out to Atomic.
I did Venom Pro Wrestling once, and I've also done. I was on New Japan Tamashi's Brisbane show too.
Excellent. So, what inspired you? Because I know that you and the captain travel everywhere together, inseparable.
Yeah.
What made you go? I need to break out of Rocky. I need to try and get my name out there because, like, you're one of the Queensland guys who is properly wrestling in Queensland. What made you go? I want to give this a crack.
So, I've always wanted to do it. Ever since my debut in November of 2022, and throughout 2023, I got my first traveling opportunity in 2023 with QWA, where they reached out to me when I was El Nino, and I got to go up and have my first match outside of Rockhampton. And I got a little taste of that, and I've been and that year I'd been meaning to go back, but I just financially couldn't afford it. I was only working casually and not getting many hours. So I was mostly focused on getting more reps in locally and like getting money up so I can do that. When we hit 2024, I wanted to branch out more. So I started going to QWA more. I got an opportunity at Venom Pro Wrestling. And yeah, so I started traveling a bit more, and I also got my first full-time job that year. So when I did, I started reaching out to companies and just I was like, now I can afford things. Now I can budget and I can afford traveling. Because Rockhampton, the closest company to us is Wide Bay Pro Wrestling, which is 4 hours away, a 4 hour drive away. We're like 9 hours from Townsville, 8 hours from Brisbane. So like it's not a short trip to get to other places, but yeah. So when it came to 2024, when I got my first full-time job, I was like, okay, this is my chance to really break out. And then going into this year, I've messaged literally just about every single company in Queensland that I want to hit up. I've got goals and aspirations this year, especially towards the end of the year. So I want to hit up as many companies as possible, and I want to be able to wrestle at all these different companies and get my name out there in Queensland while I'm still here.
Now you say while you're still here, makes it sound like you're running away from Queensland. And I know that you're planning to go back to New South Wales, but does that mean that's the last that we're going to see of you in Queensland? Because personally, I hope not.
I can say with full confidence it will not be the last time you see me in Queensland. I am planning on moving to New South Wales to continue to further grow my career. I feel like New South Wales is a good middle spot for me to go anywhere in Australia just about. We got Victoria, that's south, Queensland, that's north, Northern Territory, South Australia, Tasmania is not that far, New Zealand's just over the water. It's a good middle ground to be in, to go to all these different places. So that's my thinking, and like training with some of the best, going back to my roots at Newcastle Pro. But I definitely want to be coming back to Queensland when I can, afford it and I can have the time to and everything. I know I don't want to stop going to war. I know, like, I want to come up to war, but I also want to come up to like places like Wide Bay, places like EPW, like PWL. All the different companies. Like, if I can make it up to Brisbane, I'm still going to be wanting to wrestle. If I'm making up to anywhere in Queensland, I still want to be wrestling. Not shutting Queensland out, just taking the next step in my career.
I love that because I said you're one of the guys that's traveling everywhere, and that's getting your name out there. So you're not a star of just one promotion; you're a star of multiple. So, like, I champion, clap for the initiative to go to New South Wales, where you're able to spread your wings a little bit more and keep trying to push that, and keep make people aware, not just about pro wrestling, but of Marston Holmes.
Yes.
So let's keep talking about you because that's why you're here. Who is Marston Holmes as a character? That's something that I really want to dive into because when I see you come out, I see this young guy. He's a little bit cocky, as you should be, because you're accomplishing things. You're wearing your kicks on your feet. You got your Nikes, your Air Forces, or whatever. Who is Marston Holmes as a character? If you can put it into words.
So to me, Marston Holmes, he's this guy who's been given. He started very young. So truth, like, this is Marston Holmes, and this is the truth too. I started training at the age of 15, so I'm already now at the point I'm at 5 years in, and I'm only 21, which is kind of surprising to me. I know a lot of people don't get that opportunity, and I know a lot of people do. For me, Marston Holmes is trying to prove that although he's such a young guy, although he's such just only 21 years old, he can be up there with the top guys of any promotion in Australia. He can go toe to toe with the people who are on top of Queensland, people like Mitch Ryder. He can go toe to toe with anyone on top of any company. Your PWA guys, your Newey Pro guys. Not because he's better than them, not because he's keeping anyone down, but because he wants to prove to himself and to everyone he's someone to be kept an eye on. He's someone who is backing up his statement of being the future of Australian professional wrestling. And to me, Marston Holmes wants to accomplish the fact that he is the future, but not like 10 years down the track.
I love that.
Tomorrow.
I love that. It's like you see yourself as a shining bright star, and nobody's able to diminish that.
Yeah.
But also, right now, you're just trying to make people see what you see on a regular basis. I love that. Yeah. Definitely the future. You have to excuse us if you can hear the tractors over that way just revving the absolute hell out of themselves. That is. I hope it's not interfering with the microphone. We will try and talk a little bit louder if it is. We'll cover it a little bit. We'll get in like this. It's been annoying all weekend, hasn't it? Yep. I tell you what, we are not impressed by the tractor pull at the Gympie Rural Show. I guarantee you that.
It's so noisy.
So you haven't been watching wrestling for too long. You're about 5-6 years in. Who are some of the professional wrestlers in the world, in Australia, in Queensland, in New South Wales, who inspire Marston Holmes? Who are you comparing yourself to on this journey as you go down the road?
I can kind of section it off a little bit. So I've got like the guys in Queensland I kind of look up to. I've got the guys in Australia that I look up to, and then I've got the guys in the world that I look up to. I'll start right here in Queensland. One of the biggest ones I would say is Mitch Ryder. I see the things he's accomplishing, and I think it's absolutely awesome. And the way he wrestles and everything, I'm a big fan of it. Another person is Dick Riggs. I'm a really big fan of Dick Riggs. And again, same thing with him, the way he wrestles. A lot of the QWA guys I look up to. Even just the top guys at PWL too, like anyone who's got good experience, but there's also like a certain style I really like in regards to wrestling, and I feel like Mitch Ryder and Dick Riggs fall into that category really well. And so there are a couple guys that I really like. I enjoy watching them, and I enjoy wanting to learn from them. In regards to Australia, there's a good few. One of them is EC Brownie. Because I'm friends with Brownie, I'm friends with Rach too, and I see the path that they're on, and I feel like it's very similar to what I want. So I like to I look up to Brownie a little bit in regards to the way that he's going about things and the way I want to go about things. And other people I look up to are people like the Dropouts. They're two young guys who have conquered Australian wrestling just about, and they're older than me, but they're not crazy much older than me. Like that's kind of something I look up to there as well. Matt Hayter's another one I look up to. I think he's easily the best in Australian wrestling right now. And then in the world, I'll chuck one more Aussie name in there, Grayson Waller. He's made it to the WWE. He's doing great things up there, and to me that just shows, like, seeing as he's also come from New South Wales, he's come from that area. To me, that's like, oh well, that means I can make it too. Triple H, love Triple H. His heel work is, in my opinion, the best. And then people like RVD, Adam Cole, I look up to a lot. Those are kind of the top names I can get off the top of my head. Yeah.
Lovely. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to close this out. We've got a campfire guy next door to us who's decided to turn his microphone on about 10 minutes early. So, final question. If a young kid came up to you and was like, I want to start doing professional wrestling, what's some advice that you would have for him to get him started on his own path?
First thing is find a school. Find a school nearby that you can attend training locally. You can attend it. You can go there and train multiple times a week. Start by finding a school. If there's multiple schools near you, you can ask around. You can ask, like, credibility-wise, which ones, not better, but would, I guess, fit you more, fit what you're looking for more. And then once you're there, don't give up. It gets rough. It gets hard. From the point where you're just starting to the point where you're who knows how many years in, it gets rough. So if you push through, it's 100% worth it. Doesn't matter what your goals are, whether it's to make it big, whether it's to stay locally. If you just keep going, you'll find it to be worth it. Everything that happens, it'll all be worth it. So that's probably what I would say.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, I'd like to thank, for the first time, I would like to thank young prospect, the future of Australian wrestling, definitely one of the kings of Queensland wrestling right now, traveling, making a name for himself, Marston Holmes, for being here on Wrestling on the Fly with us today. Marston, any final words before we cut out?
Follow me on Marston Holmes Pro on all social media. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram. I think I have Twitter or X, Facebook. Follow me all there. That's all.
Excellent. All right, keep an eye on this young guy because he's going to make a big name for himself in the future. If 5 years' time, if I don't see you headlining everywhere, I will be shocked, surprised, and gobsmacked, and I would have lost $20. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marston Holmes. I've been Jesse Daniels. Thank you for watching and listening to Wrestling on the Fly.